Welcome on the news leg of the AM show. Now, in our first story, former President John Dramani Mahama has taken a swipe at the governing New Patriotic Party, saying the party is at its wits' end and cannot perform any miracle to change the fortunes of the people. He advised all those who still had the belief that their lives could be improved in the dying embers of their reign not to tickle themselves. Rafiq Salam was embedded in the former president's campaign and reports now from Drapa.
Flag bearer hopeful of the National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama final day campaign tour of the Upper West region took him to 5 constituencies, all held by the NDC, starting at the Jiriba constituency.
And when we come back into office, I have said that we will make sure that any opportunities that are available to Ghanaians, you also get your fair share. Because you are the owners of our party, you also get your fair share. 3
persons have filed their names to contest the Jiriba parliamentary primary, including Jennifer Namfuri, daughter of the former Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service and incumbent Kletu Sedi Dapla, who is seeking a 3rd term.
This is your constituency. We are going to vote you 100%. I will also assure you that this constituency is one of the constituencies that is very united. The constituency executive committee are together. The branches are united. Stakeholders are together. And I want to assure you, after the primaries, we will come together and increase the votes margin for yourself and myself.
The next stop of former President John Dramani Mahama was at Nadoli, capital of the Nadolo-Keleo constituency, which was a Waterloo for him in the last presidential primary.
And I know that this is Honorable Bagben's hometown. And so when I came, I campaigned, and I knew I was going to win the overall. But for us Northerners, we respect our elder brothers, we respect seniority. And so I had to be careful here. If I defeated my elder brother in his own hometown, it will become a big problem. And so I put the foot on the accelerator gently. I didn't push it too hard. And truly, you guys honored our brother. He won and I came second. And we've been working together. Today we're all proud of him, that he's the right honorable Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, the first Northerner in the history of Ghana to become a Speaker of Parliament.
Anthony Mankara, who took over from Speaker Alban Gbabin, is being contested by a senior lecturer at the Simon Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Dr. Tedios Banye.
There are no options. Yes. You are the only person in the race, and we are going to give you overwhelming endorsement. I can assure you, I've been everywhere in the constituency, every branch, and the determination and resolution to vote for you 100% is great and clear.
The former president then headed east and to Issa, constituency capital of the Femobure Issa. He interacted with the delegates and the 2 aspirants vying for the right to represent the party in the next general election. Their incumbent Dr. Sebastian Sandare, who is aiming for a parliamentary hat-trick, and Abu Kabiembata Kansangabata, better known as Abu Keke, pitching his strength against him for the 2nd time. At Bulengi, in the Wise constituency, the former president interacting with the delegates, chiefs, opinion leaders of the area, admonished the people against politicians who come to them with flowery language in the name of getting power. Citing the MPP as an example, he stated that the party is at its wit's end and can perform any miracle to change the situation.
6.5 years. It's 1.5 years more. There's no miracle going to happen. What they've done is what they've done. They're not going to add anything to it. So anybody who is sitting and thinking there will be a miracle in this last 1.5 years is just tickling himself and dreaming. Nothing else is going to add. What you've got is what you've got. There's going to be nothing. And as far as I know, there's nothing here in Wa East that NPP came in the last 6.5 years and have done. What they've rather done is that good things we're doing, they have stopped them. I remember we're building a girls' secondary school here. And as soon as we left office, where we left it is where it is. And so I wish to promise you that NDC is coming for sure. And when we come, that girls' secondary school, we'll finish it and we'll make sure that the girls of this area can get a good education.
The West constituency seat is considered a swing seat, but is currently being held by NDC's Dr. Godfrey Sedi Jassau. He's being contested by a former West constituency secretary, Dr. Munor Isaac, and former Upper Sudan treasurer of the NDC, Prince Razak Tachi.
We in Wa East are beginning to rewrite our books to ensure that Wa East remains the seat for NDC from now. Because of that, during the constituency elections, we literally maintained our existing executives. In the same vein, we are going to maintain our presidential candidate and parliamentary candidate as well.
The NDC flag bearer hopeful wrap up the campaign at Lasse Tolu in the West constituency before rolling out of the region to the Savannah region, where he is expected to cast his vote during the presidential and parliamentary primaries on Saturday. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Jiruba.
Well, the Wa Central NDC parliamentary primary, meanwhile, is expected to be keenly contested as two lawyers, international relations expert, and a pharmacist have filed for the contest. Incumbent Wa Central Member of Parliament, Dr. Rashid Pelfo, is in a battle of his life as he begins his bid for a 6th term in Parliament against old foe and former Food and Drugs Authority Chief Executive Officer Alhaji Hudu Mokhtari. Rafik Salam once more reports that the two lawyers, Abubakar Mutiu Rahman and Wahid Bampori Idrisu, are bent on springing a surprise.
Dr. Rashid Pelfo has constantly for over a decade continuously divided opinions in the Wa Central constituency for deliberately been shifting the goalpost as to when he will call it quits in Parliament.
But for me, I think I can also say hopefully it could be the last, but hopefully it could be a continuation. But let me tell you, this is not a small job at all, and I will do the bidding of the people, but I will also try to understand when it is time to exit. But I'm not disclosing anything here. Let's wait until we get to the Rubicon, and then we can cross it.
This interview was conducted immediately he was declared the victor in the 2020 parliamentary polls in the Wa Central constituency. Dr. Rashid Pelfo arguably is loved and despised in equal measure, but has consecutively won every parliamentary primary of the National Democratic Congress (NDC) in the Wa Central constituency since 2004. His percentage or margin of victory over the years, however, has been on the decline, according to a group calling themselves Crusaders for Positive Change in the Wa Central constituency.
When MSAU left the seat, the margin between NDC and MPP was over 18,000 votes. Currently, the difference in votes is merely a little over 5,000. Furthermore, the MP employs use and dump tactics before and after elections.
That claim, however, has been disputed by Progressive Youth Alliance, a group affiliated to the international relations aspect.
Honorable MSAU had his best performance in 2000, which is 53%. And His Excellency Dr. Rashid Pelfo, best performance in 2008, which is 58%. So by these figures, the best performance ever in Wa Central is 58%.
Dr. Rashid Pelfo, for a safe time, is running in the NDC Wa Central parliamentary primary and has tied his performance to that of the NDC.
NDC represents development in this constituency. All the many schools we have built were built by NDC. The secondary schools, the university, the hospitals, the clinics, the water systems, everything you can see in West Central here, you know, is being germinated and propagated by NDC.
A poor enforcement of building codes, patronage of substandard building materials, and the influx of unqualified contractors have combined to identify as factors contributing to recent building collapses in the country. The Ghana chapter of the International Facility Management Association says institutions are failing to enforce standards. President of the association, Samson Opariajaman, wants quacks pushed out of the construction industry.
Within the past week, the country has recorded at least 5 building collapses. The latest is a church facility collapsing on construction workers in Kaswa Botiano. In such incidents, lives are lost, injuries sustained, while investments are wasted. President of the International Facility Management Association Ghana chapter, Samson Opariajaman, attributes the spate of building collapses to substandard building materials on the market, unqualified personnel, non-supervision, and a changing climate. He is worried about poor supervision of constructions.
We have institutions who are not doing their work. Okay, in Ghana, anytime somebody wants to build, he goes for a building permit. Okay, now if you are given a building permit and you go to site to build, you are supposed to implement what the drawing states. Okay, now in implementing what the drawing states, there are also professionals from the assemblies who must be going around to monitor if the permit that has been given to you is implemented on site. But most of the times the permit is given, you know, through the back door, and when they go to site too, you don't have monitors going around to ensure that the right mixture of concrete is being used, the right sizes of, you know, reinforcement is being used, and the right process of building construction is being followed. Even today, standardization in our building material is a problem. It's a problem. You go to site, you are supposed to see 12 mm rod, and you are seeing 10.5 mm, you are seeing 11 mm. Where is the standard authority? Why are these things on our market?
Vice Dean of Faculty of Built Environment, KNUST, Professor Emmanuel Adinyira, believes empowering supervisory institutions would sanitize the building and construction industry.
We have a lot of parts in the system. I mean, the problem with the construction industry in this country is the lack of proper control by the industry. Right? Elsewhere, you don't get up and say you are a contractor, you don't get up and say you are an electrical contractor, a carpenter, a steel fixer, and start to work. No, but we see that in this country. So there are a lot of cracks are in the system. What I think has to help us weed out this cracks is some of it is happening, toughening the regulations and empowering the institutions to have more control. Right, a bit of that is happening. I know there can be discussions around the construction industry development bill, and once that is passed, it will give a body and authority to be able to sanitize the practice of construction.
Facility managers and the academic joined other global actors to mark the World FM Day in celebration and recognition of the facility managers and the entire facility management profession. Dr. Anthony Ejechum of the Department of Land Economy, KNUST, says facility managers must be included in an organization structure before constructions begin.
FM, for instance, are normally left out. They are the people who manage the facility for the entire lifespan of the facility. If somebody is going to manage a facility which may last for about 100 years or more, and he's not part of the design, he's not giving any advice, how is he going to manage it effectively?
Now, hypertension has been identified as the greatest risk factor for a stroke. More than 90% of stroke victims have high blood pressure. Fortunately, scientists in Ghana and Nigeria are using mobile phones to improve hypertension and other stroke risks. Joy News medical correspondent Dr. Netta Pashram speaks with the lead scientist, Professor Fred Stephen Safo of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, for Tech Thursday.
Stroke clinically, it refers to a problem in the brain whereby blood is not able to get to one part of the brain, or the blood vessel carrying blood to the brain ruptures and therefore you bleed into the brain.
Well, yes, that is stroke. What then are the risk factors for stroke?
Number one on the list is hypertension. If you take 100 stroke patients, 90 to 95% of them would have hypertension. That shows that hypertension is the dominant risk factor for stroke in Ghana and elsewhere across Africa actually. Number two will be dyslipidemia, abnormal lipid or abnormal fat in the blood. So that constitutes about 70%. So if you take 100 stroke patients, 70 of them will have abnormal cholesterol or abnormal triglycerides in their blood. And that's followed next by diabetes. Up to about 30% of our stroke patients have diabetes. But importantly, up to another 30% have pre-diabetes. In other words, they don't have the diabetes, but they're on their way to developing diabetes. So if you aggregate the two together, you have about 60% with dysglycemias or abnormal blood glucose levels, predisposing them to stroke. Then we have lifestyle factors. If you consume less vegetables, you're at higher risk of stroke. If you consume more meat or regular consumption of meat, you're at higher risk of stroke. If you don't exercise, physical inactivity predisposes you to stroke.
The study involved 100 stroke-free patients with at least 2 risk factors for stroke. 50 of these patients were exposed to just one-time counseling. However, the other 50 were given a stroke video which educated them on their risk factors for 2 months.
So one of the avenues for preventing stroke really is to harness the potential of mobile phones, to be able to provide education and also to assess your risk. So recently we've been able to design a risk score that is tailored for Africans. So you put in your risk score on an app and it gives you the percentage of probability of developing a stroke.
In our final story now, the principal of the Kikam Technical Institute in the Alembele district of the Western Region, Emmanuel Bright Norma, has stressed that the most critical need of the institution is furniture. He says the lack of furniture has greatly affected the academic performance of the students and wants government to urgently support the institution with furniture.
Kikam Technical Institute is one of the major technical institutions in the country, currently with a student population of 2,432. The school offers technical courses such as motor vehicle engineering, welding and fabrication, among others. The school is currently faced with many infrastructure challenges such as lack of a dining area, assembly hall and access road to the campus. The principal of the institute, Emmanuel Bright Norma, speaking at the launch of the 60th anniversary, said the school continues to contribute significantly to the development of the country, but access to basic needs such as furniture for students continues to impede teaching and learning.
Classroom furniture currently is the most critical need of the school. And we will use this opportunity to ask for help from the government and all other stakeholders that matters. I must emphasize that 60 years in the annals of any educational institutions like ours is no mean achievement, so there is every cause to celebrate. Nana Chairman, from an initial population of 3 teachers and 90 students in 1963, the institute has grown rapidly. It is believed that technical education stands the chance of helping to reduce the unemployment rate as it is in the country. This is so because with technical education, the youth can establish their own businesses and also work in formal industries.
Western Regional Minister Dr. Kobna Ochreda Comensa, addressing the gathering, assured the school of providing them with furniture to ease the challenge of furniture confronting the school.
Technical and vocational education and training is a vital engine to our country's industrialization agenda, and government is therefore committed to ensuring that its citizens have the practical skills necessary for success in life. Gone are the days when people thought that technical education was for second-grade students. In fact, today, as I speak to you, I want to tell you on record that every year in the last 4 years, technical schools have been oversubscribed. So I want to assure parents that technical education is key to national development, and our government, led by Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, will continue to invest money in technical education.
In Afalia Kwanza, Joy News, Western Region.